Yeah, I'm rolling on my end. I just got it. Everything's good now.
Cool. Sounds good.
All right, I'll do the intro.
Sure.
Welcome to the Groupthink Podcast. We're immediately in the, I guess, the aftermath of whatever E3 was. Joining me today is fellow Tribeca Flashpoint college graduate and a video game fanatic, Daniel.
Hi. Thanks for having me. Very excited to be here. And aftermath of E3, it's a pretty good intro for this, I'd say.
Totally. This has been very unique E3 in that I think it might be the worst one ever. That's slight hyperbole, but I will defend it on the grounds that I don't think anything was announced over the course of 4 days.
That's true. I think the main conference that was announcing stuff left and right for me was Nintendo's conference. And that happened today.
Yeah,
we got to see a lot of cool stuff, but also a lot of just like, we have stuff coming in the future. We'll show you stuff in the future, which is a little unfortunate. We can kind
of go down one by one just for chronological sake, but yeah. Okay, that's a good one to finish out on. So, I did not catch. We'll start with E3. I did not catch this live, but like I know the big gist of the conference was that Battlefront is now getting his sequel is apparently supposed to be really hyped up now.
Yes. And that was probably the biggest takeaway for me was Battlefront 2. I am a fan of the first one, even though I can full priced well. For $60, there wasn't enough content, but Battlefront 2 looks like it has everything I wanted. A single-player campaign that's going to exist in canon and kind of bridge the gap between the original trilogy and the new stuff we're seeing now. Awesome class-based combat, free DLC. So it seems like they really picked up their game, EA has, and given the fans a lot of what they wanted.
Sure, maybe it's just me, but my heart that was so badly broken for the first Battlefront. Like, I'm having so much trouble getting excited for this one.
Well, I can definitely see that. I think that I'm the only person I really know that's truly excited for it, and that goes back to me liking the first one a lot. But just from what I saw in that Naboo trailer and some of the gameplay that I looked for afterwards, I liked a lot of the class-based stuff, and the fact that they're adding in all the Clone Wars era stuff and The Force Awakens, and the free DLC thing is also pretty great to hear.
It all sounds great. Like I remember back when the first Battlefront came out. Like the original two games are my childhood games, and just hearing that they were giving it to DICE was like to me the smartest idea ever, because it's like, conceptually they're not that far off. The only real difference in my head was they're not going to do the third person option, but you can make a game that's probably pretty similar to the original Battlefronts with that studio who's really good at doing multifaceted gameplay with spaceships and vehicles and ground combat. And it ended up just being like such a cluster of unfocused ideas that didn't really add up to much.
Yeah, the first one felt like a hollow shell at times. There wasn't enough to keep me engaged for more than a couple of hours, but those first couple of hours were pretty good. I agree that a lot of their game modes and stuff didn't work out, and that also goes back to just them being dead shortly after launch, because everybody was abandoning the game due to lack of content, no single player. The Horde missions, the wave missions were a joke. They should have just invested that into more game modes and better content into the multiplayer. So
honestly, I think the thing that probably bothered me the most was the level design, because they didn't balance anything. So tons of the levels were very specifically like you could only one side would win every single time they played, and there was like no functional way to stop it.
Yep, I remember especially in like the beta, the Walker assault maps. It was like the rebels would have to just not care about their kill-death ratio or doing anything fun when those Y-wings came in to disable the walkers. You had to just point and shoot at that static object as it moved closer to your doom. That felt pretty bad. They kind of tried to address it on release by adding in like more weak points, but even then, it's still definitely a one-sided battle. I'd like to see the numbers on which side actually won more, but because it felt like the Empire always won that fight.
Well, like if you think back to like Battlefront and Battlefront 2, like they got that level, the Walker level in those games perfect the first time, so they just redid it, mildly tuned it for the second one, and it feels balanced because the walkers have to be manned, and there's a long distance for the walkers to go, so it felt like that it was even if the walkers were a little bit like overpowered, it felt like that they were appropriately weighed down, and so it would be leveled right. Like,
Right.
just having a computer-controlled one and, like, 3 methods of stopping it, it made it impossible to balance.
I think that the problem with the new Star Wars Battlefront was you had very specific times when you could disable it by any means, and other than that, you had to kind of like fight over those control points, and that didn't feel very good because I haven't played the original Battlefront or Battlefront 2 for quite some time, but I remember you could deal some damage to it as it approached from at any time. You didn't have to wait for a specific Y-wing bombing to come in.
Yeah, those games also felt like they had like way more breadth and like width to them too. Like you could do so much in those games with like there were all tons of maps and tons of vehicles, and even though a lot of it was copy pasted, it felt like it was all like unique, and even when it wasn't necessarily that way.
Right, and a lot of their content, like I remember all the classes that they had and whatnot too, which was a lot of fun. And I think between the different classes, you had all these different weapon types. You had different like character models and all that. And in the new Battlefront, you didn't have that. We had like 30 different blaster weapons, but only 2 of them were actually good, and the rest were all throwaways that no one else would use because they would lose a fight if they fought against anybody with the actual good ones.
Sure. But yeah, I guess everyone's kind of forgiven them to some degree with Battlefront 2, but like...
Yeah, I think it's a lot of people are getting hyped. They see all the things that EA is saying, you know, free DLC, your classes are going to be in here, all that stuff, and I'm falling victim to this too, but I know that they have some sort of... They're going to have some sort of microtransaction in the game to make money in the long run, and if that affects gameplay, that's going to be really bad, in my opinion. That's when I start drawing the line.
Well, yeah. I mean, we've lost the war on keeping microtransactions in a minimal part of like games nowadays, but
right.
I just want them to, if they can get the central gameplay right, maybe I might buy it after launch, but it's not going to be a day one purchase for me.
Right. I think that's acceptable. I think I'm going to wait a little bit just to make sure the game runs. I remember when Battlefront came out 2 years ago, I had the hardest time finding any matches because the servers were swamped. They had just some general server bugs. So I'm going to wait at least a week until everything clears up.
Good lord. They have EA money and they don't even do their servers that well.
Yeah, I don't know what the deal was. I assume that there was just the classic case of, or at least they were saying it was the classic case of, we didn't expect this many players, but I mean, Star Wars Battlefront, I don't know how that's an acceptable excuse.
Well,
it wasn't for...
Well, gosh, we didn't think anyone was going to play our game. We could only host 10 players.
Right, exactly. Yeah, it was a little disappointing.
Yeah. Oh well, I guess. It's.
Besides,
yeah.
Go ahead. I was going to say, besides that, the only other game that I was really interested in, and as another cult classic of mine, is the Need for Speed game, which basically looks like Fast and the Furious just put into a game, and I'm okay with that at this point. I think that could be really cool.
Did you see that terrible like Need for Speed movie they did like 4 years ago?
I did see that terrible Need for Speed movie, unfortunately.
Well, I'm glad what's his name from Breaking Bad is getting some sort of work, but
yeah, that was really bad, and I hope they don't make any sequels. Doesn't seem like they will, but
I doubt it. I sincerely doubt it, but
yeah, I'm hoping this game kind of brings back Need for Speed to the forefront, because the last one, in my opinion, wasn't that great, and Rivals was just decent at best. But I'm hoping this one can really bring it back to the forefront.
I'm behind the curve about 10 years on racing games. Like I was, as I brought up during my for lack of a better term, post-apocalypse on Facebook, where I posted about E3 63 times over the course of 2 days, but
yep.
I don't know much about racing games anymore. Like as someone who follows gaming a lot, you hear about like how much work they put into it, and you really do see it, like the sound design and the visual effects and all that. But they always look the same in the trailers, and it's really hard to get a sense of like, is this game good without playing it?
Right, and I think a lot of the racers, the majority of the racers, have turned into some sort of simulation game. Where you have like the Forzas, the Gran Turismos, the Drive Clubs, Project Cars. All those fit into more of that hardcore, serious, you're going to be driving this real-life car type of gameplay. And Need for Speed for me was always this arcadey, not very realistic, drifting around corners, getting into these crazy cars. Some of them have like weapons and different abilities, like Need for Speed Rivals. EMP bombs and stuff that made no sense, but it was fun, and it was something you could pick up at any time and be in the mood to just have this high octane race with crazy action. Compared to some newer ones.
Yeah, a lot of them feel samey, like they look samey nowadays.
Yeah, I agree.
I almost got the Crew when it came out, because I remember when when they pitched it, it said it was like a giant open world United States. It was like, oh, that sounds kind of cool. I wonder if it would actually like be that way. And I didn't play it, but I don't. Did it end up being any good or?
I played it and I didn't like it. They had this weird story mode that I didn't care for, and yes, you could go from like coast to coast. It was a shrunken map. It was a shrunken United States essentially, so it wasn't the full country.
Well, but, yeah, they're not doing Google Street Maps.
Right, exactly. But just the game itself felt pretty lifeless. Like you could drive to all these different places, but between those places, it's not very fun. Just driving from point A to point B. And in a racing game, I don't want to do that. I want to do the stuff that I don't do in normal life, like drive from point A to point B. I want to like knock cars off of roads, get chased by cops, be in these like crazy races, like in Gran Turismo with 40 cars and try to be the best.
Yeah, very true. You either need to do like flight simulator levels of like accurate. I was like, this is what it's like to drive the car, or you go over the top. But yeah, was there other than sports in Infinity? Where there's anything else at EA that kind of caught your eye?
The other game that they announced was Anthem, which is made by BioWare, obviously the guys who made Mass Effect, and it's basically EA's answer to Destiny, which is made by Activision. What they showed was.
I don't like that combination.
Yeah, it looks interesting, but for me, I'm waiting to see because they showed a very scripted gameplay sequence. Essentially, what the gameplay was is you live in this post-apocalyptic world of some sort, where you live in a society that's protected by a wall again, and outside the wall are dangerous animals and storms and all kinds of stuff. And you're some sort of mercenary who gets into exoskeleton suits and can fly around like Iron Man. Each suit has different abilities. There's all kinds of loot to collect. It's got drop in, drop out, co-op. You know, it's very ambitious. And the game looks great, and I hope it's going to be good. But based on Andromeda, if it's the exact same team or if it's a different branch at BioWare, it has me worried. And the gameplay itself, it's like a third-person shooter kind of game. It kind of just looked like third-person shooter. It didn't really catch my attention other than the Iron Man flight suit stuff that was going on.
I'm gonna look it up because I know there's like 3 BioWare teams or something like that.
Yeah, I doubt it's the same ones as Andromeda, but they could at this point they could be moved off of the majority of them could be moved off of Andromeda and onto this game to help support it. But it is cool to see a new IP come out from this. Because essentially everything else that EA announced was 2 sports games that we knew were coming, Star Wars Battlefront, which we knew was coming, and Need for Speed.
Yeah, that kind of sets the mood for the show. Is that it's literally everything you'd expect and very little else. Right. I don't see it on the website in terms of where. There's BioWare Edmonton, BioWare Montreal, and BioWare Austin. I don't know.
I think it might be Austin, but I'm not 100% positive.
Whatever. Wikipedia is not helping at the moment, so. Well, actually, let me. Yeah, the website doesn't say which. No, BioWare Edmonton. So it's not the same. So it's not it's not the Andromeda crew.
Yep. Okay. It makes sense then. They've probably been working on this for multiple years at this point.
Well, yeah, because you need full team development with these giant multiplayer games.
And it comes out, I think,
next year.
So we'll expect to see a bunch of different gameplay trailers leading up to that. Maybe that'll help sell me on the game. But for now, I'm on the fence.
Yeah, me too. Like, I would need to be really convinced about that to make the jump on that. But I didn't see the original the EA trailer too, so maybe that's just not selling it for me either. But I saw the gameplay one, but without the context, it didn't really do much. So
right.
Anyway, moving on to Microsoft.
Microsoft. Oh, here we go.
I will give it to them. They told us at the beginning exactly what they were going to deliver, and they delivered exactly what it was. They wanted to give us 42 games and they gave us 42 games, and only 2 of them were interesting.
Yeah, I mean, every year Microsoft goes through this thing where I hope that they show exclusives for Xbox. All of the games they show, they say are exclusives, but are really coming out to PC at the exact same time. So it's like, why do I own an Xbox at this point? What are you making on it that I should keep this thing or buy the next one? It's sad to not see that anymore. Also, the Xbox One X, I don't know what you think about it, but the $500 price tag seems pretty high compared to the other options out there right now.
I don't care. Like, the only addition it would give to me is 4K, and I don't have a 4K TV, and I don't care that much about like resolution to go out of my way to buy another Xbox One.
Yeah, exactly. And I think with the S, like I have the Xbox One S, and it plays 4K Xbox One X, which in my opinion, the name of the console is also a little confusing because you have the Xbox One S.
Oh, you know what? You know why they did it? Because because as an abbreviation, it just spells Xbox.
Oh, of course, that's why.
It's the worst thing ever. It's literally the worst thing ever. What are you playing on? Xbox. Which one? The Xbox. Oh.
Right. Well, that's still silly to me because I think when parents and grandparents go to buy an Xbox for their son or daughter this Christmas or any holiday season, they're gonna be really confused by what's an Xbox One S and what's an Xbox One X. Why are they $200 price difference?
Let's not confuse matters too much. They're all gonna be buying Switches.
That's true. That's very true. I'm excited to get to the Nintendo portion of this talk.
Ooh, me too. But we must earn our way there.
True.
So yeah, the only interesting games I thought that were coming out of this one, with the exception of Sea of Thieves, which I'm not totally sold on yet, but I kind of dig because it's rare.
Oh yeah.
They were almost all second-party titles. We got Metro Exodus, which actually looks pretty dang good, but that was like the only surprising reveal of the conference. So
yeah, that was their only like new game I think that they really revealed. They showed some more Anthem stuff, but we had just seen that way before. They showed more Crackdown 3 stuff, which at this point I don't really care about. And yeah, a bunch of games like Assassin's Creed Origins and stuff that you can buy on any console at this point or PC.
Yeah, I mean, Metro's kind of one of those like really interesting like second-rate, not like second-rate bad, but second-rate underrated games. So I'm kind of glad to see that they got one because it's one of those things where nowadays is like, your game it didn't make freaking Hollywood money, so we're not gonna make a sequel like Dead Space. But
yeah, no, I'm very excited for Metro Last Light or Metro Exodus. I love the last two. The first two were really good in my opinion, and it looks like they're going a little more open world with this, which would be interesting to see how they pull it off.
Yeah. Other than that, the only two things that really caught my eye were the Dragon Ball Fighter Z and then Super Lucky's Tale. That was about it.
Super Lucky's Tale is interesting because that's coming from the guys who made Lucky's Tale, which is a platformer in VR. On this Rift. So I'm interested to see how they tackle the non-VR space, see if they can pull it off.
I was like going off, like I was like really excited for it. I was like, oh cool, it's like a 3D platforming game. You don't see those very often anymore. And I was talking about it to people and I was like, dude, you realize it's like a little kid's game. And I'm just like, I don't care.
Right, yeah, exactly. I mean, they're really fun, especially because they don't come around that often. Like the last one that I have, it's not even a true like side-scrolling platformer. It's Yooka-Laylee, which came out a month or two ago. That game is really good. It's
a privately funded game, though. It's not a blockbuster. So that's the thing.
It's true. Right.
Like
I don't know. No, go ahead.
I was gonna like I can't remember a major other than maybe for the Wii. The Wii and the GameCube are the only two consoles that have had 3D platforming games recently. It doesn't. I think they kind of dropped off the radar.
Well, I'm interested to see how that pans out. I'm definitely probably going to pick it up. I don't know if it's coming to PC as well. I assume it is at this point because everything else is. So I'll just pick it up.
Yeah, I think I'm wondering if they're gonna like start phasing out of like the Xbox at some point. Like just like, hey, we're gonna get used to everyone going on Windows 10. So.
Right. I mean, I've also thought that as well. Like, at what point do they stop making the Xbox and just tell people buy this cheap PC that does the same thing and more?
Maybe we're moving towards the Steam boxes and there aren't going to be consoles after this generation.
Oh, the Steam boxes. I remember that.
What a great 3 weeks. But
Yeah, basically.
But yeah, I guess that basically covers the Xbox conference. Like,
Yeah.
one interesting game, and then a couple trailers for non-Xbox games.
I guess the only other that I am excited for from Microsoft, and I've been excited for a while, is Cuphead.
They've been pitching that for 4 years. It's not going to come out.
I know. This is like watching The Last Guardian come to life. And when I'm 45, I'll see Cuphead finally released and be super disappointed by it.
Yeah, Cuphead's not going to have like it's like 1/1000th the budget of The Last Guardian, and it just can't come out.
Exactly.
You know, it's 2 guys in a room who just keep arguing at each other and won't give up.
Hey, that's how Super Meat Boy was made. So.
Well, it got made. That was the point.
True.
Well, speaking of conflict and frustration, we move on to Bethesda, who spent an hour telling us absolutely nothing.
You know, they announced one of the games I'm most hyped for from E3, and that's Wolfenstein 2. But they also let me down by telling me I can buy Skyrim again on another platform.
Do you want to play Skyrim again? Yes, no.
At this point, I'm just going to see it every single year. Every E3, a new device is going to have Skyrim on it, and I'm so excited.
Friggin'
just to see
Skyrim.
What devices will pull out.
I'll tell you what, the Breath of the Wild thing almost made me want to buy it for the Switch, but almost.
Yep.
Just because, like, oh, you can play a Zelda with official mod. That's kind of cool, but
Yeah, that is going to be pretty cool.
man, your system is so powerful, can run a last generation game. Congrats.
Pretty much, yep.
Other than that, I guess I totally agree on Wolfenstein. That looks really cool. Did they give a release date with that?
October 27th.
Oh, so it's pretty fast then.
Yeah, just around the corner.
Nice. I'm definitely gonna pick that up day one, because that's the first one is freaking great, and Doom is great too, and
Yep. I agree. The other game they announced was The Evil Within 2, which
Oh.
also releases in October.
I didn't get into the first one. Like I heard it was like it sold itself as like an atmospheric horror game, and then when you play it, it's basically Resident Evil 4. So
Yeah, that's about it. I bought it, played like 12 hours of it, and it became so like supernatural that I lost sense of what I was doing, and I would have to like replay it to understand what I missed.
that kind of looked like the
Previously.
trailer. The
Yeah.
trailer was very out there.
Yes, it definitely was. But everything leading up to that was pretty good. Like, the first like 2 hours were super Resident Evil 4, and I loved every second of it.
Yeah, I guess the only other big one is Quake, but
Yeah, I think that's in beta. It definitely looks interesting. I'll probably try it, especially if it's free to play.
it's id, so I think it's their internal studio.
Yeah, definitely is.
Yeah.
They showed Fallout 4 in VR and Doom in VR.
Nah,
both.
kill me! Kill
Yeah.
me! I don't want to play VR. I don't want to get a headache.
Yeah, you really gotta have a strong stomach to play those games, I think.
Yeah.
I was looking at some of the Doom footage and I was like, oh boy, I don't think I can handle this.
I don't care how much they push it. VR is a pipe dream.
Yeah, definitely. It's not going to be anywhere or very mainstream anytime soon. That's for sure.
Yeah, all these games are just rail shooters. It feels like a poor approximation of what they could be doing elsewhere.
Yep, for the most part.
But yeah, and then we kind of move on to the surprising winner of the of E3 this year, Ubisoft, which is a sentence I hope to never say again in my life.
No, I more or less agree. I think Ubisoft and Nintendo were neck and neck, and like during this talk, I'm probably gonna go back and forth on which one I like more. But every game I saw at Ubisoft, I was like, wow, this is great, except for the Crew 2, which did not have me excited at all. But
Yeah, that's so weird because like I watch Ubisoft's commercial things usually, and it always looks so samey. It's always like the same 5 games over and over again. But now it looks like surprisingly good, and I'm just like, oh, compared to everything else, this looks great. I mean,
right, maybe that is the thing. There's nothing else to really look at this point. We're like, oh wow, these look great. But I'm hoping that Assassin's Creed Origins turns out pretty well because the setting looks amazing. The game looks beautiful. And they've done some gameplay changes that could be cool, or they could be really bad. So I think time will tell.
I'm surprised the movie didn't kill any possibility of bringing the games back. It's like, we made the worst movie ever, and the franchise is falling apart. Maybe we should stop. No.
I think that this is probably going to be one of the make or break ones at this point.
Yeah, if this one fails, they're done. They're freaking done. But yeah, other than that, the standouts for me were Skull and Bones and Starlink.
Skull and Bones looks amazing and is everything I wanted. Guys who made the ship combat in Black Flag, making their own pirate game. I was immediately sold and enthralled by that entire trailer.
It stands in notable contrast to Sea of Thieves, because next year is going to be the year of pirates.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think that pirates are definitely going to become a big thing.
Yeah, it's maybe, especially we all said that after Pirates of the Caribbean, but I'm hard pressed to believe we're ever going to get there. I'm surprised that there's a market for this, but it's a thing, so who knows?
Right.
But yeah,
that does look really cool.
Amiibo for adults.
Yeah, basically. I was talking about that type of game with one of my designers that I work with at High Voltage, and we were like, man, it'd be really cool if we had a game where you could like have like robots that fight each other, and like you just built them like Skylander style, and you put it on a pad and then scanned it, and you could fight right alongside each other. And then they made Starlink, so I don't have to think about this anymore.
I think you got a bug. You got a bug at High Voltage.
Yeah, exactly. I think they're definitely listening in.
Someone from NetherRealm was listening in, and then someone was listening to NetherRealm, and it goes all the way down to the chain up into Montreal.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, I guess the other big one is Far Cry 5, but
yeah, I mean they showed some gameplay, and I like the setting. I think it's gonna be kind of neat having it in the United States with the cult, and the gameplay looked like Far Cry, so
sure,
it wasn't anything that blew me away. But the only other game that did from Ubisoft is the Mario and Rabbids Kingdom battle.
Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah, that's pretty nuts.
Yeah, I was like, at first I was like, what the hell is this? What are they making? This looks dumb. And then they showed us like an XCOM style game in the Mario universe, and it's got the awesome art style. I was like, oh, I'm sold.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
I was waiting. It's like, where is this going? And then you start seeing the gameplay. Oh, that's where we're going.
Yeah, exactly. That was my exact. Because at first you were like following that Roomba around with bunny ears, and I'm like, what is this? This is a platformer? No, it's not at all.
Yeah. That leads us to... Well, I think we got basically everything from Ubisoft covered. I guess that leaves us to Sony. The not necessarily the most disappointing, but the most surprisingly frustrating one, I guess. Like, because you kind of get... At this point in the conference, me and my friends are at the point where we're like, okay, nothing happened at Xbox, but it was okay. It was kind of an off year. Maybe Sony can kind of wrap the conference up, and they'll finally give us some Last of Us 2 trailers footage, and we'll be able to kind of like ride off the conference into that. And there were like 3 or 4 good games that were pretty good, and that was it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a big Sony guy. I love Sony, and everything they showed was stuff I knew was coming out. Spider-Man, God of War, Call of Duty, Destiny 2. Everything I knew was happening. No big surprises from them.
There was one, Shadow of the Colossus.
That's true, the Shadow of Colossus, and that looks really good, and I'm probably going to pick that up. But they showed some VR stuff that I wasn't interested in because I don't own a PSVR. I don't plan on buying one.
Again, but, the theme of the conference was, do you want to play this again? So...
Yeah.
So even the best thing, it was literally just a thing again. So. Right.
I mean, I think the biggest takeaway for me personally from Sony was just God of War remake. I hope that's gonna be really good. It looks really good. But that and Spider-Man, I guess, are the only 2 ones from Sony really.
God of War looks really interesting. I'll give it that. I don't know if I'm gonna jump on it because I haven't played the other ones, but it does look pretty good.
Yeah, I think that's fair. There's been like 4 console versions of God of War at this point.
Yeah. But, Spider-Man looks surprisingly okay. Like, I don't know if we're actually gonna get... If it's like... It's probably not gonna look like it does in that trailer, but...
Yeah, I was talking to some people at work today, and we were wondering, how scripted was that? Because it was a very well-polished, like, demo. We were wondering, is this representative of the whole game? Is the whole game gonna be this polished? and this fluid in the world is going to have all this interaction, or is it just like the specific section they have, like the specific missions have this like fluidity to them? And I hope it's the first option. I hope everything's amazing.
The gameplay looks fine. Like, it looks like very Batman Arkham-esque, but
Yep.
the thing that kind of had my eyebrow raised was the big set piece moments and like the flying around the city and the helicopter destroying everything. It was like, there's no way this isn't scripted for the freaking A3 trailer. Like, this is not gonna be the way it works.
Yeah, that entire sequence was really cool and felt just like a big budget movie almost. And I'm hoping that flows throughout the majority of it. The majority of the single player they got going on there.
Yeah, I'm very curious to see if they actually get it like live up to their any sort of expectations with that, because I would bet money that it's not going to work, but I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's going to be. I think it could definitely miss. But Insomniac's been on a roll lately. They made some really good VR games. The Ratchet and Clank reboot was fantastic. So I have faith in them. I have faith in them right now.
Sure. I guess my big takeaway from that conference was that it was kind of, we forgot to talk about Beyond Good and Evil, but
yeah.
Yeah, my big takeaway from the Sony conference was that they just didn't have any Last of Us stuff. That was kind of what kind of confused me. So
yeah, I'm really surprised that they didn't show any of it. I saw Neil Druckmann, the creative director at the studio, Naughty Dog studio, tweeted like, yeah, we didn't show Last of Us 2. We wanted to show the Uncharted Lost Legacy stuff and just have that be the focus for now, since that's coming out in like a couple of months.
I guess, but that game is such a minor spin-off game. Like, I get that Uncharted fans are gonna want to play it, especially after the fourth one, but I really don't get why they're sidelining Last of Us 2 so hard. Because they had that amazing cinematic trailer like 2-3 months ago, that like one of the best game trailers in a while. Like, we're making The Last of Us 2, and I don't know, it's so weird that they're sidelining that for now.
Yeah, no, I was definitely disappointed when the man on stage, I don't remember who it was like, oh, we're bringing out one of our best studios to show you one of the best games coming out. I'm like, oh, here we go, Last of Us 2. And Insomniac with Spider-Man. I'm like, okay, that's still good, but it's not Last of Us 2. It's better not end here.
I have several questions.
Right.
But yeah, we forgot to talk about Beyond Good and Evil. Like, I never played the original, but I know the reputation it has as this like masterpiece game. So
yeah, I didn't play the original either. I saw it's on Steam, and I was thinking about buying it to play it. But I mean, that cinematic trailer they had was really cool. That their universe is like all that cool stuff happening at once. I'll wait for gameplay to see what it's like, but I'm kind of sold already. It looks really cool.
Yeah, they might still be really early in development. I don't know which studio they have running that, but
yeah, I'm not sure either. I know that the two people who were showcasing that trailer were really emotional, and it definitely looks like this is like a passion project for them. And I know
that Ubisoft has kind of been holding this game hostage for a long time, because they've been like, hey, if all these other games sell well, we'll make Beyond Good and Evil 2. And so their structure is horrifyingly evil, but
well, luckily the Division sold all kinds of money. I think we have Beyond Good and Evil 2 now.
Yeah. I don't remember the Division doing that well. I guess maybe? I don't know.
I think when it released, I think still it's the best-selling Ubisoft game.
That's sad. That's very sad. But I guess that kind of leaves us where we finally reached Nintendo, where you want to talk about.
Yes. Almost everything at Nintendo. I was like, give me more. I was so happy today. They showed us a screenshot of a title for Metroid Prime 4. I was like, cool. That's coming at some point.
Who's developing that? Because I don't think it's retro.
No, it's not retro. I forget who it is, but it's not retro.
That's kind of bizarre.
It is a little bizarre. I'm a little wary, but the fact that we do have one coming out is it's very promising. Besides that, they showed some Pokken tournament stuff, which is fine. But then they also said that they got a RPG Pokemon game coming next year.
Yeah, that was cool.
Would love a trailer, but just that got me hyped. The fact that they could just say we have this coming, and my mind's going crazy with all these different things that they might be doing for the Switch, which is pretty cool. Then they showed Super Mario Odyssey, which beforehand I was not sold on this game at all. I was like, what is this? Mario's running around in a real life city. I don't want this. I want like Mario 64. Just give me that.
My gosh, it looks so nuts. I love it.
Yeah, exactly. And I watched the trailer and I was like, oh, I don't want to watch this. And then it got crazier and crazier to the point where you're like taking over enemies and becoming them. And there's all these cool environments like a dinosaur land and like the Wild West. I was like, oh, this is amazing. This looks really cool. I can't wait to buy that.
This game makes like other Mario games look tame in comparison. It's so fun.
Yeah, this one's really out of the box. It's way out of the box, which I think is really cool and kind of like a breath of fresh air.
I totally dig that. I don't have a Switch yet, but that might be
Zelda,
like a Zelda right there.
Yeah, I think by the time that comes out, I don't know when it comes out. I think it's
October 27th.
Wow, that's like 4 or 5 games releasing October 27th now.
What the heck?
Yeah, there's Wolfenstein 2 comes out that day. There's something else that comes out that day too.
South Park comes out a week and a half before, so.
Yeah, I think The Evil Within 2 comes out just before it as well.
Good gosh, that's terrible.
Yeah, that's gonna be a crazy day. But yeah, that looks really good. And obviously, I was a fan of the Mario Rabbids Kingdom Battles thing. They showed a little bit more of that, but I was already on board with that. I thought that looked really cool.
Sure.
Then you got the Legend of Zelda DLCs. Not even 1, but 2 of them. And I'm not really sure what they are, but more Zelda is always good.
I'm sure if I played the game, I'd know what it is.
Yeah, exactly. And I think the last thing that they announced was Rocket League for Switch, which is kind of cool because in theory, I could take my Switch right on the Switch instead of having to do it at home. But that's just kind of like awesome.
See, Microsoft and Sony, if you don't have much to announce, do it the way Nintendo does and sell it in like half an hour.
That was also a nice thing. I didn't realize they weren't going to be doing like a stage presentation like every other company.
They haven't in years.
I completely forgot about that. Most of the time, I don't even watch the Nintendo stuff. I just watch trailers afterwards because usually they don't announce anything crazy. But since I had a Switch and I knew there was hype going into this, I was like, I'm going to sit down and watch it. And yeah, it was nice just watching them give back-to-back trailers and like not pad the runtime with people giving speeches and whatnot. Just show me all the goodies.
Nintendo has freaking a 3-generation old ingrained fan base and Nintendo Direct conferences. They don't need E3.
That's true. That's very true.
They put on a half-hour like series of trailers and they freaking take over the show. That's just slow crap for freaking Nintendo today.
Absolutely, they definitely did really well today and got me really hyped for just about everything they showed.
Yeah. Other than those games, like I guess like in total, like the games list was not very long of stuff that's coming out. That's like super interesting, like Metro Exodus, Wolfenstein, South Park, Shadow of the Colossus, and Metroid Prime and Mario Odyssey. But a lot of these we already knew about, but like this isn't a very long list of interesting upcoming games. Like I can't imagine they're going to fill out November with new games with this.
Right, yeah, I think just like the big ones are the ones we knew about. You know, you got Call of Duty. I think Destiny 2 releases in like
September.
September, yep. I mean, the one I don't know when it releases is Skull and Bones. That's the one I was like, all right, when does this come out?
That's probably
that great.
It's probably also on 10/27. So.
Right.
But yeah, it looks like they're gonna drop.
I think in general.
It looks like they're gonna drop all these games like at the end of October. Then you're gonna get freaking Call of Duty and Battlefront, and then that's gonna be it. There's not gonna be that much this year.
Right. Yeah, unless there's some stuff that they're holding out on for some reason, but I don't think so. I don't see any more AAA games.
There was a lot of stuff early this year. I'm wondering if that kind of just zapped all of the this year's worth of good games already.
Well, yeah, I think that there was a good deal of that. Like we saw Destiny 2 get revealed like a month ago. We knew Spider-Man was coming out. Call of Duty World War II got announced like a month ago. Like I feel like if they could have waited, we could have seen a lot more. Like, oh wow, Call of Duty World War II is coming out. That's awesome. They got a cool trailer. They got a multiplayer trailer right off the bat. This could be really cool.
Words can't describe how little I actually care about Call of Duty World War II. Like,
see, I'm in the same boat where I'm like, just not gonna get it. But I know there's a lot of people who are just super hyped about it, and I feel like going into E3, I was like, I know it's going to be there.
Here's the thing. I for a couple years, I was that guy. Like, I remember back in the day, I played the crap out of the Modern Warfare trilogy, and I liked Black Ops. And then when you got to that point, just after like Black Ops 2 and all like Ghosts, it just starts getting into this really cynical territory where every single game is blank warfare and vague future ops, and and there was no reason to buy any of the games.
Right. Yeah, I think I stopped playing around Black Ops 2 as well. At some point, the yearly release just fatigued me to the point where I was like, "There's all these games that kept coming out yearly, like Assassin's Creed and Call of Duty were the two big ones." That I was just worn out.
It wasn't even the yearly release that killed it. It was just the tedium of it. Like, I liked Modern Warfare 3, like as opposed to a lot of people, but I would speak just as much as anyone else that it's not the best Call of Duty game. It's probably one of the weaker ones by the time that game had come out. And then they just kept cranking out the sequels, and I was just like, who cares?
Right. Yeah. I think that like their real low point was probably Ghosts, which I played a bit of and heard a lot more about, but I think that was probably one of their worst ones. I didn't play Infinite Warfare yet.
I remember one of them got really well, like good reviews, but I don't remember which one it was.
That was Advanced Warfare by Sledgehammer, and I played that one, and their single player was really damn good.
Really?
I was blown away by it. That was the one where they had Kevin Spacey as the bad guy. I was like, he did really good. And
press X to pay salute, I think.
Press F to pay respects. Damn right. Yes, absolutely. One of the best video game memes of our generation was born in that game.
Beautiful, just beautiful.
Yeah, but I mean, I like that game. I think when Infinite Warfare was announced, it reminded me a lot of Advanced Warfare, and I was just like, I'm gonna pass this time, and I haven't played it. I haven't played it yet.
Yeah. Man, I just looked up Call of Duty on Wikipedia, and the list is just so long now. It's so depressing.
Yeah, there's been a lot of them, a lot of Call of Duties.
World War II is the 14th game, so.
Wow. That is a lot.
I can't wait till they hit 20 years, and then they're gonna have the pretentious E3 20 years of Call of Duty.
Oh, that's definitely gonna happen.
Just give it 6 more years, and it's like the game you've played for a generation. That's the generation-defining game.
Yep.
Yeah, it definitely defined it.
This is going to be a remaster of all the old games, the 20th anniversary. Just a remaster of all the old games.
Good lord.
Sold separately.
But yeah, I guess other than that, the only other real like notable stuff that came out of the conference was just all the controversy regarding like some of the weirder concepts coming out of it. Like, I don't think anyone was super on board with the new consoles. No one liked the VR, and like people were mad at Bethesda because of their paid mod service now. So
I forgot about that. Yep. I thought people would have learned that paid mod services are not what people want. They don't want this. No one wants this. Why are we doing this?
Money.
But you're right. Money is the reason, and it makes sense because they're remastering Skyrim again for a new system. But,
they're gonna start remastering Skyrim for the 9th generation starting next week. So PS5 is gonna come out next year, and they're gonna relaunch it, and Skyrim is gonna be the launch game.
Exclusively, yep. Until the year after when it ports to the Xbox XX.
The Xbox XXL. It's keep putting more X's in the title.
Yeah, exactly.
X Electric Boogaloo.
Yeah, I think overall the E3, it was just okay for me. There were some third-party games that I knew about going in, that I knew would be revealed. That kind of got me excited. And the stuff Nintendo showed was pretty good, and Ubisoft press conference was good.
It was E3 sanded down. Like, there was nothing stood out.
Yeah, but I think it goes back to something you mentioned earlier. There was a lot of just like announcements beforehand. Like, I knew half these games were coming out. I think if I could have seen all of these games showcased like on E3 for the first time, I would have been like, "Oh, this is great."
Like if I went into this E3 wanting to hear about Halo, I wanted to hear about Elder Scrolls, I wanted to hear about Last of Us, and maybe that was a little too pie in the sky, but it felt like that this was an E3 that we could have gotten stuff on those games. Like,
I completely agree on The Last of Us. I just went in like, we're gonna see it. But everyone was like, yeah, I can't wait to see what it looks like. And it was shocking to me that it was the exact opposite. We saw nothing. And I'm always hopeful for Elder Scrolls 6, or for them to remaster Oblivion. I'll give them all of my money.
I would say remaster Morrowind first, but
I'm okay with either one, honestly. I'm just assuming they're gonna go backwards from Skyrim to Oblivion, then Morrowind, but we didn't get any of that.
I would imagine that they're gonna do what they did with Fallout 4, and they're gonna reveal Elder Scrolls 6 the year it comes out.
Yeah, I think that's probably it. I mean, they did that this year. You've got 2 new games coming out in what, 3 months? 4 months.
I really appreciate that they do that. I really appreciate that they like hold off like telling people about the games until right before it comes out. So it's like, you want to play this game? Guess what? It comes out in a month.
Yeah, exactly. You don't have to wait a year and then another year for the delays, and then
the beta is literally downloading on your phone or as we speak.
Right. I remember, I don't think it was last year, it was a year or 2 ago, EA announced Battlefield Hardline, and that day they released like a beta so you could play it while like people were playing it on stage, and I was like,
that's
this
great.
Is really cool. I'm gonna go do this immediately.
Yeah. Although, as I said, as we both said, this was kind of a weird E3, but
yeah, I could agree.
Yeah, I gotta go and do some other stuff. But thank you so much for coming on. I really this is a good talk. This is a good like summary talk.
Yeah, it was great.
Not much to talk about, but we got pretty. we
summarized what was there.
We pulled it off. So.
Yep.
Thank you very much. This has been the Groupthink Podcast. Everyone have a good day.
Bye.